The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from eXp's top-producing icon agents? If you are an ambitious eXp agent ready to skyrocket your business, this podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomas Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your eXp business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Hello guys, welcome to another episode of the eXp Realty mini-series podcast provided to you by the Real Estate Master Summit. With us today, we have Mike Sherrard. He's a recognized leader, top producer, personal branding expert, and social media strategist in the real estate industry. He's the leader of the Wolfpack team powered by eXp Realty with over or almost 600 agents in the group. Mike also helped over 3,000 agents around the world in 2020, learning how to scale their business using social media and online platforms. And today, Mike will share some of that knowledge and secrets on your eXp Realty mini-series podcast. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Hey, man. Thanks so much. I know I've been excited to do this, and I'm excited to share some stuff. It's been a really exciting journey, and we've got lots to dive into, so let's do it.
Let's do it. Dive with our heads first, and let's start with your real estate journey. Please spare no details.
Yeah, it's, to kind of give the quick and dirty of it, I never expected to get into real estate. I was always had the vision of climbing the corporate ladder, getting into, engineering because I love cars so much. And I thought I'd be, designing cars. So I became a mechanical engineer. I took 2 degrees in 3 years, moved from New Brunswick to Calgary across the country up here in Canada. And after a year of being an engineer and being ranked one of the top employees of 60,000, I asked, the manager sat me down and said, where do you want to go in the company? And I said, oil and gas sales, because I, wanted to work hard and get compensated for my effort. They said it would be 7 years of technical work and then we can get you there. And I put in my 2 weeks notice the next day. So around that time, I was also buying my own property, but at the tail end of university, I also started reading books like typical Rich Dad Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, things like that, and realized that there's more to this. So when I got into real estate, it was actually more of a journey to learn marketing, branding, and sales, because I knew that those 3 skill sets can be applied in any industry. If you want to start a clothing line or an app or whatever you want to do, that's how you'll succeed. So I got into real estate in 2017 up here in Calgary. And quickly, within my first year, became a top producer for multiple years. Now, it was an exciting journey because when I first got started, I was 24, didn't know anybody and had no experience. So I started door knocking in the snow, in the dark. The weather up here is terrible. And I realized that there's a different way to grow your business, because a lot of agents grow their business in an effective way, which is a 1-to-1 ratio of traditional prospecting, where you put in 3 hours of work and your business grows by 3 hours of the work you put in. Whereas when I started looking at wealthier people that I would meet, they focus on an efficient business, which is 1-to-many or leverage. And when I started looking at leveraging this thing called social media, and the fact that as a young guy with no money who didn't know anybody, that was the only way I could build the sphere, because all the brokers said, Mike, go leverage your sphere. And I'm like, I just moved to the city. I don't know anybody. And within 10 months, I was ranked one of the top 2 agents in my city on social media. And then every year since, I've been number 1. And it's just completely changed my business. So 18 months ago, almost to the day, I joined eXp. And since then, it's completely changed my life.
Nice. And back to the important part, that is exactly what we're here for, to talk a bit about eXp Realty as well. And I guess the most common question I need to ask, but it's a necessary one, is why did you choose eXp?
Yeah, it's a great question. So at the end of my 3rd year, which would have been 2019, I was scaling my real estate business and things were going well. But I kind of had that like aha moment that a lot of agents face, which is, okay, going into 2020, which we had no idea about the pandemic. It was before that even hit. It was of the mindset of, what do I do next? And the thought process was, if I stay where I am at now, the only thing I can do next is to do more deals, but that requires more time, which gives you less lifestyle, but you got into create lifestyle. And I was in kind of the rat hole, and I didn't know what the next move was to actually start having fun again and to build this in a way that would allow you to create wealth and create a lifestyle of why you get into real estate. And, a lot of people have reached out to me about EXP over the last couple of years, but nobody really explained it properly. And nobody sat down and said, here's how it would apply to your business, until I met my sponsor and my business partner now, Connor Steinbrook. And he sat me down, and at first I blew him off. But then what happened is we started building a relationship. He had a bigger YouTube channel. I wanted to leverage his audience, so he had me on his channel. And when we started looking at the fact that I was also building a strong personal brand, I also had thousands of agents every single year reaching out to me wanting to partner, but I didn't want to do one-on-one coaching. It started looking at this really beautiful symbiotic opportunity to be able to get compensated for what I'm doing without having to put in that one-on-one. And then also at that time, at my past brokerage, I was a 24th agent, and just based on the nature of my production and my, way of leveraging social, I attracted a lot of agents to that brokerage, and I got $0 for doing it. So the long story short of why I joined EXP is, once I properly understood the model, it was, how can I be a part of something that will allow me to get compensated more for doing the same thing I would already be doing? And EXP was the only brokerage that would allow that to happen. And, since then it's just completely changed my life.
Nice. And 18 months from that, you're still happy with your decision, I hope.
Oh, it's been absolutely incredible. It's been a really crazy journey in the last 18 months. When I got into EXP, I didn't want to do it the same way a lot of others were doing it, which is, a lot of people push me away from the opportunity because they're mass messaging people on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. They're sending templated videos to people that aren't even by them. They don't even understand the model, so they can't answer your question. So when I came in, I said, I want to over deliver with value. And if others see the value, I hope they'll want to join me. And in the last 18 months, I personally sponsored more agents than anybody in the existence of EXP, one by one. And I also have the most number of actively producing personally sponsored agents at EXP in the entire company that's been around for 12 years. And I've done it all without reaching out to a single person.
Man, that's awesome. That's impressive. And let's see, how did you get there? But first, so you are one of the social media gurus out there in the EXP Realty universe. And you were just telling me before we started that you were invited to Glenn Sanford's private party. So I kind of want to hear this story before we dive in the valley.
Yeah, that was super cool. Glenn most people don't know this, but Glenn is actually from Alberta in Canada, where I'm from a tiny town there. And it was his birthday party. And, what happened is a couple of the big leaders said, why don't we do a gathering for him in Napa Valley down in wine country? So there was a hand select group of people that were invited to this party, the upper echelon of the entire company. And it was really special for me because I didn't meet the requirements of people who should be on the invite list, because it was supposed to be for people with thousands of agents that are in the organization. And I'm just at 600 right now. But there was a special request for me to come based on what I've achieved personally within such a short amount of time that nobody's done. So it was really special that I was invited to go down there. It was an incredible couple of days where we got, for one of the first time ever, the Robert Mondavi family rented out their whole place, did private wine tours with bottles that are never making it to the public. And it was really special just to get to spend one-on-one time with the elite leaders at the company. And that's where it really hit home the power of EXP, because the one special thing I noticed about there, amongst the fact that, it was people making, $500,000 to $1 million a month, residually, is that not one person on that trip, aside from taking pictures, was on their phone. And that's where it hit, that these are people that have built wealth and aren't relying on production. And there's nothing wrong with production. I'm never going to say that, because that's how we all build our business and that's how this all comes together. But when you want to create wealth and you want to create lifestyle, it cannot happen solely from using production, because all these people, again, were able to give Glenn and everybody else their undivided attention by having a residual that's coming in that meant that they didn't have to check their phone to lose a deal or to miss out on a client. They were there and could be fully present. And that was very, very special.
Nice. It sounds like fun. It sounds like fun. It must be an amazing experience. And yeah, I think you'll be doing great if you get invited next year. I think that's the good KPI to keep track on, is if you get invited next year, like, you're on the right path.
We've got some big stuff coming next year.
Oh yeah. So as for social media now, let's dive in a bit. And you say social media and online platforms. Can you just name a few, the ones that you work, and maybe what is your favorite one to use, or maybe what is the most profit one?
Yeah, definitely. So I leverage all of them. I'm actually now I've got a ton of TikTok videos batched, so I'm going to be finally getting back on there because of the power of it. But, when I look at which social media platforms to leverage, they all have a different, special place in my heart. So the way that I look at, Facebook, where I spend about $3,000 to $5,000 a day on, as we speak, is pay to play lead generation or marketing. The beauty of it is that you can get cheap leads. The negative of it is that sometimes you get colder leads. When you look at Instagram, which was what built my personal brand in the beginning, is that it's great for building personal branding. It's great for top of mind awareness if you leverage it properly with Instagram stories, and being able to stay in touch with people in your local market center or on a global level, depending on how you're running your business. And then YouTube was the other pillar platform, which again, I love, because that's what really took my brand to the next level, was leveraging the longer form content, where when you look at YouTube, one view watched is 30 seconds of somebody watching a video. If you look at Facebook and Instagram, one view watched is 1 second watch. So you have 30 times the connection you can build with somebody every single view that you get. But it also allows you to build the like, know, and trust factor on a deeper level, because people actually get an opportunity to get to know you and your personality. And now, whether it was production in the past, or now whether it's agents looking to join us in the present, what's happening is I get on, Zoom just like this, and everybody's like, Mike, I feel like I already know you. I've watched all your videos. And now it's more of an open conversation because they know what I'm about. So I like to pair different styles of platforms in terms of long form, short form, pay to play, and branding, depending, so you can kind of diversify. I see a lot of people say, well, I'm just going to go all in on YouTube. But if you look at an investor, for example, they diversify their portfolio, because what happens if at some point that is no longer what it is today? Or what happens if that platform shut down? Or what happens if you lose your account, or if it gets disabled? So I think it's really important to look at covering different bases based on what's possible with each platform, from retargeting, brand building, and everything like that. But I think every platform is relevant. They all have a very unique opportunity, but the consistency of it is what is going to be the deciding factor in your success on it.
Yeah, and it's amazing how we have these tools, because they are available for everyone. Even dogs have social media right now, but it's available for everyone, and every single piece of it as kind of a use to it. Like you said, like YouTube is good for videos. Of course, you're not going to post pictures on YouTube like you're going to post on Instagram, but Instagram may not be the best one to network. They may be better with Facebook and LinkedIn, with Facebook groups. So yeah, it's amazing, this universe, and I understand your passion about it. And actually, you mentioned this in case if it crashed. And the truth is, 3 weeks ago, I think in the beginning of October, it did crash. So Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they took a day off. And my question for you is, what was of your business on that day, and what was on your mind?
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love when these platforms crash. And again, this goes back to not only just sometimes the platforms crash, but before I got verified on Instagram, there was many times, 11 times over 2 years, where people created fake accounts of my Instagram using my photos, would get my account disabled, and I would lose my Instagram for, days, weeks, whatever. And what happens is it really hits home, and I hope people understand this because I'm going to put a video out about it, is that a lot of people are trying to rely on their following, their subscribers, or whatever the platform calls it, their connections, depending on which one it is, in order to build their business, and say, well, I get all my business from, Instagram, or I get all my business from YouTube. Well, that's cool until you don't. And so I absolutely love when days like that happen where the platforms go down, because what I hope it does is it gets people in check and says, your following, your subscribers, your connections mean nothing. The only thing you own is your email list. And if you don't have an email list, you don't own anything, because you don't own any of these platforms. So I've got a way bigger email list of realtors than I have subscribers and followers on any platform. So that way, if something happened, I could rebuild it back the next day. If a lot of the things happen to other people, a lot of them would be starting from zero the next day. So it's really important. And I like when it just kind of reminds people the importance of actually being able to take that traffic, bring it off a platform, to own it in a certain location, like an email list or CRM or database, and then from there start to scale.
I was not expecting that answer, Mike. I was expecting, oh no, it was the worst day of my life. I lost $5,000 in ads that I didn't receive. But yeah, it was quite a valuable insight that, of course, you need to channel the followers that you have and the potential leads that you have. If you put them on the mailing list, you own them. They're yours. Yeah. And yeah, you could just rebuild them on the next day. You're right. And yeah, so you also have the Social Agent Academy, right? What is that about? Is that like a coaching business you have?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's my online training program. It's video-based training. We have a ton of EXP agents in there because they've, obviously seen what I've done at EXP and want to know similar strategies. And we're always working on new stuff. But basically, it's a program that I update every year, depending on how new interfaces look, new platforms that are relevant, new features that are out there. But it shows agents exactly how to build and scale your business using Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. I'm just about to add TikTok, Google. We've got every platform, how to build your personal brand, all the downloads that you need for content calendars, what to post, what to do, everything. But what's important is the results that it's gotten for people. And again, this is just a testament of what happens when you properly leverage social media consistently. There's a guy in my group here at EXP, brand new agent, just got his license 8 months ago, now done over 60 deals in his first year entirely from YouTube. We have another guy that was previously at a different brokerage, did 0 deals for 6 months, joined us, and started doing 5 deals a month within 5 months. And then a year later, he reached back out to me and said, Mike, I'm now doing 10 deals a month from my YouTube channel. It's so busy that I'm retiring my wife from her 6-figure corporate job. A year ago, he was about to quit real estate, give up, and go back to a corporate job. So when you look at what happens when you properly apply social strategies, and these guys just used my program, it's pretty incredible to see what you can do to change your business. But again, the biggest thing is, how committed are you? Because it takes work and you have to be dedicated to the process, be consistent, and put in the time.
And that's impressive success stories right there. I was actually going to ask you about it in the end, but yeah, here you go. 2 very compelling, intriguing success stories. And I also saw on your website that you had like a $40 ad resulted in a $40,000 commission in 2 days. And I think I can speak for our audience. That sounds very, very interesting. So can you let us know, how did you do that?
Yeah, it's really ironic because it's leveraging a similar strategy, even though the guy that I'm talking about that's done 60 deals in 9 months is doing it through YouTube. I did very similar, but through Facebook. So what it was is, this was back in the tail end of 2017, early 2018. And I started realizing a lot of people running Facebook ads provide literally no value, right? They're running free home evaluation, or look at me in my headshot, or here's my team. Like, it provides no value to anybody. It's super selfish. And that's why people don't like realtors, right? So when you start looking at, how can you differentiate? How can you actually provide value to the community that they would want to click on it? Because here's the thing I want people to understand that are running Facebook ads is you need, whenever you're about to run an ad, take off your realtor hat and say, if you were an unlicensed general member of the public, would you click on that ad yourself if it landed in front of you? And what you'll see is 99% of the time you wouldn't click on your own ad, but you're running it expecting other people to click on your own ad. So you're going against your own consumer behavior just because it's you and you're special. You're not, so nobody will. So I started thinking, how can I be special and provide value that people would actually click on or that I would click on? So my city, Calgary, there's a lot of new development, pre-construction going on. And what happened is there was a new community getting built in the south of my city, and it was really hot. It was really exciting. There was a lot of buzz around it, but there was no developments yet. So what happened is I got invited to this, realtor event for the first developments that's going to be in that community. And instead of doing what every other agent at that event did, which is wait for the development to be finished and then start bringing clients, I met up with the sales rep afterwards and said, hey, will you let me use the photos, the renderings, because it's not built, but will you let me use the renderings in the Facebook ad? I'm not asking to list the units. I'm not asking for an agreement. All I want to do is bring buyers to your development. That's it. I'll use my own budget. I'll pay for it. I'll show them. I'll do everything. I just want to use your photos. Can I get approval for this? And they said, yeah, sure. Use the photos. If you're spending your own money, go for it. Ran that ad for 2 days for $20 a day, $40 total. And within 2 days, I had 5 buyers that all closed on those deals. And I had to show no homes, sent them to the sales rep and got $40,000 in commission. The more powerful thing is what that turned into, because the developer saw, holy cow, look at what this guy just did. He brought us 5 people before we've even opened the doors, to the point where they actually let me represent their entire next phase development of hundreds of condo developments in contract. So by leading with value, not asking to be in contract, but proving to people what I can do, it actually led to bigger opportunities. And then multiple builders in the city wanted me to do the same for their buildings. God
damn. So that was what you got from it was even more than $40,000.
Way more, hundreds of thousands.
Woo! In 2 days, man, that's impressive, Mike. And that's why I presume that's what you teach at the Social Agent Academy.
Yeah, exactly. It's how can you zig when people are zagging, right? The problem is everybody's trying to do real estate the exact same because everybody's learning from somebody that's telling them to do it the same way that they did it, but it's not working anymore, right? So I try and really think outside of my own head, unbiasedly, of what would people want? How can I give it to them? How can I be unique in this marketplace that is very saturated? Because whether it be YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, every platform is now saturated with realtors, but it's never saturated with quality, right? It's always saturated with quantity. So when you look at that, I always live by the quote, if you go the extra mile, it's never crowded, right? And a lot of people are saying, well, I've got a presence on here, but how intentional is your presence on there, right? Are you just active or are you proactive, right? And how can you do it differently in a way that actually excites engagement?
Man, I got to tell, that's pretty awesome insights. And I've been seeing your ads a lot, Mike. I don't know. Like, I got in your funnel. Like I searched around for, in your Facebook, Instagram, on your website, and now you're everywhere.
Don't click on my stuff. You're never escaping.
Yeah. On Facebook and Instagram. And I know that if I stand there and the longer I'm looking at an ad, right, a better lead you think I am. So sometimes with normal ads, of course, like what I do is I try to pass it very quick, so they realize I'm not interested. But of course, with yours, I was trying to see some testimonials and the strategy that you had. Like, this is an ad to show realtors how to run ads. It caught your attention, did it? Didn't it?
Yeah.
And it did caught my attention because I was reading it. And let's talk about the results of this campaign, for example. Are the results looking for this? This is an ad to show realtors how to run ads.
It works great. Like I live by the data. And that's how I run my business. Is, a lot of people, when they're running Facebook ads or any type of advertising, what they do is they make the detrimental mistake of running what they think is cool or is catchy or works best. And what I do is I create a ton of stuff, usually 40 ads at a time, test them all, and then let the data speak volumes, right? And oftentimes I've been wrong about what converts the best and what converts the worst. And if I made my own assumptions based on just what I think is cool, then I wouldn't be doing that well. So the kind of the barometer of my business, or the answer to your question, is if you see an ad frequently, you know it's doing well. Otherwise, we would kill it within the first couple of days. So, we work towards having a certain return on ad spend or a ROAS. And as long as it's meeting that benchmark, then we're going to keep pumping it out.
Nice. So I assume then the testimonials part in Instagram is going well then.
Yeah. Well, people have seen how much the training has changed people's lives. And I want people to, see that other agents have done it, and other agents of all, ages, demographics, ethnicities, genders, locations, languages. Everybody's been able to make it work. If you put the work in, it's a proven process. And that's the thing that people don't understand, is social media is literally not difficult at all. You just have to know how to do the right things in order to get results, right? If you put out YouTube videos on your channel and you don't know how to optimize them, everybody says, well, if I'm consistent, I'll grow. But if you're consistent with the wrong things, you can put out videos for 10 years on your channel and never break 100 subscribers. Whereas if you're consistent with the right things, you could do it like many people in my group have done for 6 months and get 10,000 subscribers, right? So it's really important to shorten the learning curve, go straight to what works, implement consistently what is proven to work, and then you'll get the results instead of being on the hamster wheel like most are.
Yeah, I think I have a clear idea of what you do, because like what you do is social media marketing, and what people do is social media, and and people do social media and forget about the marketing part. And I guess that's what you offer. And yeah, I was just thinking about it.
and building a strong personal brand, right? Because that's the thing, is you have one name, right? You're never going to get another one. So, and as you grow, your name becomes more powerful. So it's really important to have a strong personal brand, because you have to realize, like, no matter what any brokerage tells you, the brokerage brand literally means nothing, right? Remax means nothing. EXP means nothing. The brokerage brand means nothing to the client or to the success of your business. The brokerage is on the back end, how are you getting compensated for the effort you're putting in based on your personal brand, right? So you'll see the strongest agents in any market are the ones that have the strongest personal brand.
Yeah. And if we can put a pinpoint on personal branding now, imagine someone that is listening right now, they're looking at their name and I'll be like, oh, John Smith, like, who am I? And they're wondering if their brand is actually good or not, or maybe it's even a new realtor, or even someone they still need to get their license. How would they get started in building a strong personal brand?
Yeah, it's a longer process, obviously, when you want to really dive into it. But when you start looking at a personal brand, the first kind of things that I do is the number one is identify who you actually want to be perceived as, right? Because your personal brand is not what you say it is, it's what other people say it is when you're not around, right? So how do you want people to perceive you when you're not there? Step number one. Step number two is identifying your target audience and your target avatar and doing like a SWOT analysis, like a strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats analysis to say, what are you good at? What are you not? What opportunities present themselves based on what you're good at, and what threats are there because of what you're not good at. So doing that analysis and seeing, how can you kind of cater your brand and leverage your strengths in order to build something that people will, understand. And then taking that and creating a unique value proposition, right? So looking at, and this is a question I was asked people, and it was in my video yesterday, which is every agent should be able to ask themselves, if I was going up against the number one agent in my market today, in a listing presentation, what would I tell the seller to win the listing over the number one agent in your market? And it can't be, well, I just love working on people, or I love helping people. That's not going to seal the deal, right? What actually makes you unique? And that answer, number one, if you can't answer, you got to get back to the drawing board. Number two, if you can answer it, that's going to start to shape how your personal brand is perceived. Mine happen to be leveraging modern strategies. So that's what my company, High Converting Content, does, is create personal brand for agents. But it's really important because that's the foundation of what everything builds off.
Nice. And yeah, it's a very long process, but of course you got to start somewhere, and then it keeps on growing. And if you focus again and be consistent, right? I hear this word a lot when it comes to being successful in social media. But is there any tip you want to give, or any advice on how to be consistent? Because of course everyone knows what consistency is, but it seems hard sometimes, right? It seems hard because most of the people, they're not consistent, but they know they
Yeah.
need to be. But is there any advice you want to give a shout out?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's all in the preparation, right? So if you look at how I do content, like for example, I made the decision that I'm going to go all in on TikTok last week. So what I did is I sat down and in 2 hours, I ripped out 30 TikTok videos back to back to back to back to back in one session. And when I do my YouTube content, I do it 1 to 2 months at a time. I do 8 to 16 videos in one sitting. And the only way that you can do that is the preparation work that goes behind it. So whenever I'm doing content, for example, on YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or whatever, what I do is I write out the video list that I want to record. I write out all the bullet points of the key points I want to include in those videos. And then when I sit down, I know exactly what I want to talk about, the exact topics and the exact things I need to include. So I'm prepared. And there's been times where a meeting finishes early and I've got 15 minutes before my next meeting, and I can record an 8-minute video between that meeting. Whereas otherwise people would have just gone on YouTube and played around and messed around and wasted time. Right. So by being prepared, batching your content, doing the legwork ahead of time and the heavy lifting, and then having it in your calendar, like every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. till noon, I block off, it's in my calendar, batch my content, and for whatever platform happens to be that week. And that never moves. It's a non-negotiable, because a lot of people say, okay, I'm going to do my content on a Wednesday. But then a client meeting comes up and they're like, okay, that's easy to move. I'm going to do it right when I was supposed to do content. And it's always an afterthought. So it has to be a non-negotiable in your calendar in order to make sure you can actually do it.
Yeah, it needs to be a priority. And you sound like a very productive man, Mike.
Yeah, that's how we're here.
That's why we're here. And tell me, what are your goals for the future? How does the future look like?
Yeah, man, it's, the goals are now that I've, started reaching a lot of my personal success, goals that I've had over the last couple of years with the cars and everything like that. Now it's kind of, bigger than that, in terms of there's a vast difference between personal success and real success. Personal success is, how can you create wealth for yourself? Real success is how can you create wealth for as many other people as possible. And that's the beauty of EXP, and what it allows it to, what it allows people to do is to create wealth for other people and build that opportunity. So I've got certain goals in terms of how many agents that I'd like to get over the last couple of years, and how many lives, how many millionaires I want to create within the company, and just continue to change other people's lives and give back to my family. I do a lot that people don't see in terms of how much I give back within my spare time. And that's the most fulfilling for me, is, leveraging what I built to make others happy and build.
Nice. And you're making me happy right now. So I hope I'll be a part of your success as well.
That's all I can ask for.
Oh yeah. So let's wrap this up with a final question here. It's a question that we ask to every guest is, in what areas do you feel you need to improve, and what are you doing about it?
Yeah, definitely. So, I think there's always an internal work that needs to be done, right? Because there's something that I live by, and I'm going to kind of take people on a bit of a journey here. It's going to be a quick one, but you have to understand that your business will grow to the capacity that you are as an entrepreneur, or to the knowledge that you understand, right? So I took my business over the last year from $300,000 a year to $3 and a bit million per year in the last 12 months. Okay. Well, I did that based on the person I am mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially over the last couple of years. Right. Well, now to go from $3 million a year to $10 million a year, I need to do internal work in terms of developing myself as a leader, developing my skill sets, learning more, looking at how I can automate and systematize a lot of the things that I'm doing to streamline it, looking at outsourcing more, looking at leveraging more. So a lot of my weak points are just by the nature of saying, okay, I've achieved this, to go to the next level. I am the weak point now, right? I personally need to develop their certain skill sets in order to scale and look at how you can do things more efficiently in order to go from doing the thing to owning the thing, right? And that's where a lot of people, kind of misconstrue their opportunities, is they're stuck and they've hit a plateau because they're always the one doing the thing. Whereas when you look at people that create real wealth, they own the thing. So how can you remove yourself, get other people in place, create leverage, build scale, and then take that opportunity bigger?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And yeah, if you can't do something and you're still doing it, that is actually slowing down your growth, right? They're slowing down your business and your potential. And the entrepreneurial parts of you should say, stop, let someone do that for you. And you can spare a few bucks a month, a few $1,000s a month, and you'll receive that result times 10. So yeah, that's a great insight there. And I think it was one of the best answers we had on the podcast to this last question.
I'm glad.
So Mike, tell me and tell us, how can our audience reach you?
Yeah, guys, I answer every DM and every comment on my YouTube channel. So if you want to get in touch with me, ask any questions, or whatever you want to do, hit me up either on Instagram or on YouTube are the two best ways to do it. And I'll always make sure to get back to you.
Oh yeah, and yeah, thanks, Mike. I wish you the best with the Social Agent Academy and the Wolf Pack. I hope the Wolf Pack keeps bringing in more wolves and wolves. And yeah, thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you listening, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.